WSVN Channel 7, Miami, Fort Lauderdale.
We can make it better. We can make it great. Celebrate, South Florida, celebrate. Celebrate.
From locations around South Florida, this is a special edition of News Center 7 with Sally Fitz, Peter Ford, meteorologist Bob Soper, and Brett Lewis with sports.
Good evening from Dade County's Cultural Center in the heart of downtown Miami.
We're here live tonight as we continue to celebrate South Florida.
This Cultural Center in downtown Miami's West End is a key piece in the move to bring life back to the downtown area.
World-renowned architect Philip Johnson designed this temple of culture. The South Florida Historical Museum has the history of our area for all to see. The Center for Fine Arts offers exhibits of painting and sculpture. And Metro Dade's main library has 200,000 square feet filled with books.
And linking them all is this beautiful courtyard plaza where we are tonight. We'll tell you more about the Cultural Center and the move to revitalize downtown Miami tonight. But first, our lead story. A federal investigation is underway tonight into alleged corruption in the Miami Police Department.
A federal grand jury is ordering the department to turn over police records that date back 35 years. And tonight's sources tell News Center 7 that the investigation is directly linked to the biggest police corruption scandal in Miami's history. Here's News Center 7's Marianne Murciano.
It's been called one of the most shocking cases of police corruption in history. Police officers linked to a drug ripoff that led to the drowning deaths of 3 men in the Miami River last year. Altogether, 6 former and then current police officers were arrested and still face trials. But there may be more charges to come. Sources say a Dade County grand jury will be hearing evidence on the Miami River cops case next week, and that more charges are expected for the former cops as well as for other high-ranking police officers. This week, federal agents requested records on officers that date back to 1950.
Yes, we received a subpoena a day or so ago. I can't go into details right now on the subpoena other than to say that we're cooperating fully with it and we're very supportive.
Sources say only Chief Dixon and a trusted aide knew the files had been removed.
We get subpoenas all the time, and these kinds of things, there's quite often an investigative necessity to limit information to those who only have a need to know, and especially when it's of a sensitive nature.
The Miami Police Department has had its share of crime, corruption, and scandal in the last year. As a result, a special pride unit now investigates corruption in its own department. But federal agents have also stepped in. Last October, the FBI reported it was conducting its own investigation into police corruption. Sources say some Miami police officers are working with the FBI on the investigation. But for now, everyone, from the city manager's office to the U.S. Attorney's office, is being tight-lipped. Peter?
Thanks, Marianne. News Center 7's Marianne Murciano reporting from our newsroom. There is mixed reaction tonight to the reinstatement of a controversial police sergeant who's linked to Alberto San Pedro. News Center 7's Robert Gilmartin reports Hialeah Mayor Raul Martinez is getting heat for his decision to put Sergeant Leo Thalasides back into work.
He may have been one of Alberto San Pedro's closest associates in the Hialeah Police Department. But at this point, Sergeant Leo Thalasides has been cleared of any wrongdoing by the state attorney's office for allegedly threatening 2 Hialeah detectives. In a letter from Janet Reno to Hialeah Mayor Raul Martinez, an investigator wrote, quote, "We were unable to develop sufficient evidence to substantiate the allegations made and are therefore closing the case." But the case is far from closed for Thalasides, who's being investigated for other allegations.
Well, but if I were to keep him out because of the broader investigation, I would have to keep out some other officers, including high-ranking officers in the city that somehow, according to the tapes, have shown certain connections with the individual.
In fact, there are up to 10 other Hialeah police officers under investigation for connections to San Pedro. None have been relieved of duty, although some, including former police chief Cecil Say, have resigned. Thalasides does have his friends in the department.
If the state attorney's office found that there was no way to produce criminal charges against him, then obviously he hasn't done anything wrong.
But there are those who feel the mayor did nothing but give Thalasides a paid vacation.
So we'd like to know who we could go threaten to get a 45-day paid vacation and just a letter of written reprimand.
By allowing Sergeant Thalasides 45 days leave with pay is not fair not only to the other officers that are working on the road, but at the same time, maybe the other officers that were mentioned on the wiretaps.
Thalassides has sued Toth for allegedly writing an anonymous letter that slandered the sergeant who taught Alberto San Pedro martial arts. Thalassides dropped his suit because he did not want to give a deposition to Toth's attorneys, while the state was still investigating him.
Why shouldn't the mayor put somebody back to work who now has been exonerated in at least one incident, and as far as the other investigation is concerned, there's been absolutely no concrete evidence?
So without a police chief leading this department, and with Sergeant Thalassides coming back to work next Tuesday, the Hialeah Police Department is still in a state of turmoil, and morale is low. And some of these officers are wondering which of their colleagues will be arrested for their connections with Alberto San Pedro. Robert Gilmartin, News Center 7.
Another tragedy in the Sunshine Skyway Bridge in St. Petersburg. 6 years to the day after a ship hit the bridge, killing 35 people. Today, a construction worker died when a crane boom collapsed on top of him. The 40-year-old man is still unidentified. He was working as a rigger on the ground at the time. A nearby crane operator was also injured, but not seriously. So far, 3 people have died during construction work on the bridge following the freighter accident.
A tragic explosion taking the life of a Liberty City worker. Police say an oil drum filled with a flammable solvent exploded when Bill Thompson tried to use a blowtorch to cut it up. The lid flew off and struck him in the head. The 53-year-old worker was killed instantly. The owner of Willie's Welding says he doesn't know why Thompson was cutting up the drum. Nobody else was injured. Residents of a Fort Lauderdale neighborhood woke up to the sound of a blast and the sight of flames shortly after midnight. An unidentified man died in the fiery explosion at his home on the 1100 block of Northwest 6th Avenue. Neighbors say he was supposed to be away on vacation. Fire officials say the blaze is suspicious and they're investigating.
An agency in Broward that gives hundreds of homeless women and children a fresh start is struggling tonight to meet its own needs. News Center 7's Broward reporter Julie Feldman says the group called Women in Distress will be making its biggest public appeal to date.
An agency that helps others had to find a flashy theme to help itself. What do an original Norman Rockwell and opium bed have in common? Both items will be auctioned off at a Mardi Gras party. The proceeds to help pay for Women in Distress, a nonprofit shelter that expects less financial support from the government and more women and children at its doorstep.
We have women and children all over Broward County who are in fear for their lives, and they have no other place to go but Women in Distress. And if our beds are full, then we have to find more space for them elsewhere, and that's just really not possible now.
The agency gave its support to more than 1,000 women last year. This woman, who we'll call Janet, is one of them. For 2 years, Janet took her husband's beatings, and when she finally found the strength to leave, he threatened to kill her.
It's given me safety. It's given me somewhere to take myself and my daughter, to stop looking over my shoulder, wondering when this man is going to turn up at my front door, following me through the streets. It's given me a new start because I've come all the way across country.
When Janet got here, she found 8 apartments like this one and a nursery. We can't tell you where the center is, although we can tell you it's small, too small.
Tonight in Broward County, there are 25 women who would like to find refuge in this shelter, but can't. There's no more room. So they're put on a waiting list and given what the group calls a survival manual, so they'll know where to go and what to do if there is an emergency and they have to leave home.
Women in Distress wants to offer more, but that will depend upon how generous its guests are tonight. In Fort Lauderdale, Julie Feldman, News Center 7.
A health alert tonight for spring breakers. The Centers for Disease Control say new figures show our state accounts for almost half of the cases of penicillin-resistant gonorrhea. And officials say college kids who vacationed here during spring break are now spreading the disease on campuses across the nation. Tonight, some spring breakers are prompting Fort Lauderdale police to probe their own. Chief Ron Cochran has ordered his department to investigate 2 charges of police brutality filed during this year's spring break. The Internal Affairs Division will look at charges that a student and a hotel manager were roughed up in separate incidents. But the chief has dismissed 6 other allegations of police wrongdoing during the yearly invasion of college kids.
More than 2,000 young people at the University of Miami are completely different from the way they were this time yesterday. That's because instead of being students, they are now graduates. News Center 7's Tom Berman attended today's commencement ceremonies.
It's a day of pomp. It's a day of importance. It's a day of austerity and seriousness.
Wait, we have to do this. All right.
Well, it is a day for celebration, too. After all, this is the day years of work and study all pays off.
The university handed out more than 2,100 degrees, making this one of the largest graduating classes in school history.
The biggest percentage of those degrees were in business, perhaps a sign of the times. But even in these days of the yuppie, there are those who are different, like Kevin Hannock, a major in musicology, who says business administration never entered his mind.
No, I enjoy what I do. I enjoy being a musician, and for me, it was the only way to go.
But graduation day is nothing if not traditional. Speakers and honorary degree candidates, including Federal Reserve Chairman Paul Volcker and actor Sidney Poitier, added class and words of wisdom for the graduates.
Work hard. The world needs you, badly.
And then, once the ceremony ends, everyone gets to rush into the real world out there and answer the same pressing question. Now what?
Graduate school and medical school, here I come. Plans are for graduate school, hopefully.
I'm going to play golf. I'm working in Boca West.
Well, maybe the real world will have to wait. Tom Berman, News Center 7.
Sure wish them well.
Sure do. I bet they've been in plenty of libraries. I wonder if they've been to this one. It's fantastic.
It's a beautiful library here.
It certainly is. Well, this special edition of News Center 7 is coming to you live from the Dade Cultural Center in the heart of Miami.
Just ahead, a day in the life of downtown as we continue to celebrate South Florida.
I'm Carmel Cafaro. Coming up from our consumer unit, we'll go shopping for Mother's Day gifts with a difference. These have culture. So stay tuned.
This is what do-it-yourselfers are saying about Home Depot.
The prices are good and the help is excellent.
Yeah, Home Depot's got it all.
It's got a fantastic selection and the best prices in town.
At Home Depot, pay only $14.50 for a new shower massage by Teledyne Water Pick. Easy to install, 5 different spray and massage settings. Now only $14.50 at Home Depot. Convenient handheld shower massage by Teledyne Water Pick, just $24.50 at Home Depot.
Come to Home Depot. Nobody serves you better. Nobody saves you more.
The name Aaron Renz means big savings on furniture, electronics, and appliances for home and the office, whether you rent or buy. We're the nation's largest furniture rental and sales company because we consistently feature outstanding value. So choose a desk, a TV, or a sofa. At Aaron, you'll always find prices that just cannot be beat. We promise you that. Aaron, the biggest name in savings on furniture, electronics, and appliances for home and office.
Chevy payments on pickups, vans, and Blazers hit rock bottom. Chevy's dropped finance rates with only $1,000 down. Buy a full-size pickup. $159 per month. Buy an S10 pickup. Just $111 per month. All truck payments hit rock bottom at Dade Broward Chevy dealers. Buy now. At $111, they can only go up.
Before you buy boots anywhere else, bring your feet to Griff's Western because nobody beats our boots. We have the largest assortment of popular priced boots, the widest variety of quality handcrafted leathers, the finest selection of exotic skins like snake, ostrich, alligator, elephant, lizard, and anteater. So bring your feet first to Griff's Western Davie and North Broward, where boots are our business.
Not long ago, South Florida was regarded as a cultural wasteland. Not long ago, that might have been true, but things are changing. This multi-million-dollar cultural center is bringing culture and people to downtown Miami. The South Florida Historical Museum is the largest private regional historic museum in the country. It has extensive archives on our area's history. Next door is the Center for Fine Arts, and it has galleries on 2 levels and a sculpture garden. The third jewel here is the main library. 700,000 volumes with room for more than double that number. This cultural center is just one of the many remarkable changes in downtown Miami the last few years. All you have to do is take a look at the skyline and listen to the people on the sidewalks. That's what News Center 7's Brian Cabell did. And tonight, He reports on a day in the life of Miami.
6:40 a.m. It's sunrise in this city of almost 400,000 people. The fishermen on the Miami River are headed out to sea in search of dolphin, grouper, kingfish. The early commuters are on their way in, past a burning pink-orange sun. The billion-dollar Metro Rail train arrives downtown. It's crowded now, though later on some runs it will be almost empty. The professional man reads his newspaper on the city's latest novelty, Metro Mover.
8:30 a.m. Time for a coffee break at a Cuban cafeteria. Time for a little rest as well. And then it's time to move on, get on with the workday.
The street sweeper is already busy, cleaning up last night's litter. The jeweler puts out his wares. The mother and daughter do their shopping. The Jehovah's Witness tries and fails to convert. She's ignored. The students here at the Cultural Center are not.
Okay, make sure you don't touch the surface of the painting.
They get a lesson on art. Outside on the plaza, other students play their music. Across the street, 20 flights up, the workers can barely hear a note. Noontime, lunchtime, street side or riverside. Across town, lost souls have little to eat. They take what they can get. They grab some shade. Workers at Bayside, in the meantime, have little time for leisure. They're busy constructing a huge marina development that could revive downtown. That would be good news for the fruit man making a sale. Good news for the attorney finished with his case. And for the shoeshine man who shined umpteen shoes today. And for the taxi driver who's tired of waiting 60 minutes for a fare. 5:45. The cars head home for the safe, quiet suburbs. The stores close down. The streets are suddenly empty, except for the man combing through the trash. The boats return from the sea. And the sun sets behind Miami.
Just across the street from us is the new Metro-Dade Governmental Center, where people who run this county work. Dade County Manager Sergio Peirera is the man who runs those people who run the county, and he's joining us tonight. Thanks for being here, Sergio.
My pleasure, Peter.
Tell us all the good things about Dade County, the things you've seen since you took office.
Well, Peter, this is a very exciting community. This is a community that is a social laboratory. It has grown tremendously in the past 10 years. You know, we have 3 ethnic groups here that live together, and we've seen the growth, and I'm excited about, you know, being in a position to run this community, because I think that we will continue to grow, and that we are, in fact, the community of the future, that we're not going to make the mistakes that other cities made in the past, and they're paying for it right now.
While we're celebrating South Florida this month, we're looking at all the positive things in South Florida, but there's no escaping the fact that Dade County has some serious problems. We have home invasions, we have crime in the streets, drugs in the schools, FBI agents being gunned down near shopping centers. When is somebody in the county, at the county level, going to say, this is enough, these are our citizens, we have to protect them?
Well, Peter, 2 things. One, I think that that's part of the price you pay for growing up, number one. Number two, just today, we released a report on crime, and subsequent to that, I am calling a symposium in order that we can address the roots of crime, and that we take a look at our resources and try to redirect our resources in order to comprehensively approach the crime situation in our community.
But while these committees are going on, we already have federal and county grand juries investigating corruption in the police department, and we should add at this point that while corruption is being investigated, the majority of police officers appear to be good, honest cops. But there is a serious problem in the police forces in the city and in the county. What can you do about that?
Peter, unfortunately, that is going on, as you said. The majority of the cops are good cops, and people should not fear that our policemen are not going to be able to protect it. What we're doing is we're investigating very hard, so that we can get rid of those few bad apples that we have in the police force and go about the business of protecting the people and carrying out the general government responsibilities.
We also have the Metro Mover and the People Mover, and it's been condemned by UMTA, it's been condemned by President Reagan. It's still here, we have to support it. What's going to happen with that?
Well, you know, it's unfortunate that those statements were made. I think that, again, We are a city of the future. We are a county of the future. That system is an integral part of the future. We just opened the Downtown People Movement. We're fighting very hard to get an additional $180 million to do the Omni and Brickell extension, because we feel that it's an integral part of the system that we're putting together so that this community can grow and grow appropriately and not grow disjointedly like other cities and other communities in the United States.
There are other things which reach far beyond our borders, but which fall into your area of responsibilities. We have massive amounts of money, honest and otherwise, coming into Dade County, going through our banks here. How's that affecting the growth of the county?
Well, I think that the dollars and the growth in international bank that we've had in this community kind of rounded up the internationalism that we have been professing for so many years, that Miami was going to be the international city of America, the gate to the Americas. I think that, you know, we have seen an incredible amount of banks coming in here, and they come here for several reasons. One is because of the population that we have here, the fact that we have a lot of Hispanics, and a lot of business is being conducted with Central, South America, and the Caribbean, and because we have a seaport and an airport that become an integral part of the international trade and commerce that this bank service their clients with. So I think that two things: we have the infrastructure for it, and we have the geographical situation that lends itself to have those institutions here.
You have a major task here, a lot of promise but a lot of problems. And Sergio Peirera, we wish you luck in taking care of them. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Peter.
Dade County Manager Sergio Peirera. We're live at the Dade Cultural Center tonight, and there's no better place to be when News Center 7 goes shopping for Mother's Day gifts with a touch of class. We'll be right back.
Hi, Dan Tashati here. Have any idea what downtown Miami building had 7 of its top 15 floors blown off in the 1926 hurricane? The story's still to come on the 6 o'clock hour. Please stay with us.
Wow, just $99 round trip to Jamaica on Challenge Air. Your travel agent has a lowdown.
Lazy Boy 2-for-1 sale. 2 great Lazy Boy chairs, 1 low price. Friday through Monday, Lazy Boy showcase shops, Dade and Broward.
This 4,000 BTU General Electric air conditioner is now only $158 during the Mother's Day sale going on right now at all 22 Kaufman and Roberts stores.
Celebrate, South Florida, celebrate. Celebrate.
Entertainment Tonight goes international. In New York, we'll whisk you to Rockefeller Center for another side of the Today Show's Jane Pauley. In London, hear the secrets of shooting stars from the world's most persistent press photographers. Then, on to the French Riviera, where you'll go behind the scenes for the glitter of the world's most glamorous film festival. And in Hollywood, Linda Gray of Dallas continues our Real Love series. Nobody takes you to the world of entertainment like Entertainment Tonight.
Tonight at 7:30 on WSVN.
What's the phrase, Carmel? When the going gets tough, the tough go shopping? Something like that. Well, Carmel has been shopping again, and this time for Mother's Day gifts. What'd you get, Carmel?
Sally, I got treasures. Well, actually, I got copies of treasures, and I didn't have to go far. You see, the Center Art Store right here has some very different gift items, guaranteed to put a little culture in your Mother's Day. And there's sort of a refined atmosphere when it comes to shopping at the Center Art Store. Perhaps that's because each and every item here has a history. These are reproductions of famous works of art, and each comes with a card describing its historical roots. Prices on the pieces of history run from hundreds of dollars to $15. And look at these scarves. Some are almost too pretty to wear. Now, with many moms looking for jewelry, the Center's collection catches the eye. There are boxes for tiny treasures, which themselves are treasures, beautifully carved and delicately etched. Or small animals sure to delight. This cat, for instance, sits on a surprise, a fish, perhaps his dinner. Depending on the mom, a hip flask. It's traveling equipment from the 1700s, I'm told, and carries the coat of arms of the Finn family of Ireland. There are paper plates decorated with historical prints, one way to get Mom away from the kitchen sink. And stationery, almost too beautiful to write on. Now, Sally and Peter, if you want to get really cultured this Mother's Day, how about this choker of cultured pearls, and it has the matching earrings. And Mayor says if you've got about $30,000, you can probably really make your mother a very happy lady.
Oh, it's beautiful. Carmel, it's a good investment for you.
Yes, right.
And you both look lovely this afternoon. It's a very cultural pair.
Well, thank you, Peter.
Thank you.
Thanks, Carmel. Bob Soper is joining us next live in downtown Miami with a weekend forecast that's all wet.
Also ahead later this hour, News Center 7's health and science reporter Dr. John Miller brings us up to date on the nuclear disaster in the Soviet Union.
Three, two, one, ignition. Vacation. You're going on vacation, and it's going to cost you less because Avis has super value vacation rates that start as low as $95 a week. Low super value rates. Another way Avis tries harder to save you money.
Do you come here often?
Only on vacation.
Avis super value vacation rates. So easy.
Publix invites you to a barbecue and a special sparked outdoor eating with hot values on Publix beef. Serve USDA choice beef loin sirloin steaks, just $2.59 a pound. Enjoy California-grown fresh strawberries, just 79 cents a pint cup. And lasso big savings at the Publix and Del Monte Roundup. Register at Publix to win one of 2 trips to a real Colorado dude ranch. Get ready for a sizzling cookout, because it only makes sense that the best supermarket has the best beef. Publix beef at Publix, where shopping is a pleasure.
Make it better, we can make it great. Celebrate, South Florida, celebrate. Celebrate.
Chewy's challenges Milk-Bone to a chew-off. Which one cleans teeth better? And they're off. Milk-Bone is just a biscuit. It's crumbling fast. But Chewy's in the right lane is made of real beef hide. Gives teeth a marathon workout. Watch. A leading university test shows long after Milk-Bone goes to pieces, Chewy's keeps going strong, so it gets teeth twice as clean. When it comes to cleaning teeth, Chewy's wins paws down. And look for new beef-basted Chewy's for a taste dogs can't resist.
The one-day sale of the year at Modern Age. Rock Bottom Saturday. Rock Bottom savings from 18 to 56% off. This Saturday only.
Well, Mother's Day weekend is coming up, and I understand Sue Soper wants good weather for when you take her out to Sunday brunch, Bob. That's a hint. Hint. Bob?
I take the hint, Sally, I'll tell you. Also on Mother's Day, you know, after you go to the brunch, you can come right here to the Cultural Arts Plaza and see the Greater Miami Community Concert Band in a performance at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So get your fill of good food at the brunch and then come out here, listen to some great music, and while away the afternoon with Mom. We've got the waterfall behind us here. It's kind of like steps, but you don't want to walk in there. You get a little on the damp side. As far as we go, there's only a couple of spots in South Florida that have been damp this afternoon. We'll show them to you on radar in just a minute. Right now, let's talk about our hometown heroine. Today, it's Marcy Gordon of Miami. As founder of the Citizens for Children Foundation, a nonprofit organization staffed entirely by volunteers, she helped raise thousands of dollars for emergency shelters for abused, neglected, and abandoned children. Marcy has asked that the $500 being awarded to her by News Center 7 and Waxy FM be donated to Citizens for Children, and that we please recognize current CFC President Nancy Trade for her hard work and dedication. Marcy, we'll honor that request, but you're going to get this plaque anyway to adorn your wall. And also, we'd like to add that your husband, Jeffrey, is our person that nominated you, and we'll send this Celebrating South Florida poster and T-shirt to you. To him, I should say, to commemorate the occasion. And if you want one of these Celebrating South Florida posters, just drop a line to Channel 7 and we'll be happy to send one out to you. The hat, by the way, I'll tell you about in just a minute. Now let's take a look at Miami's current readings, and actually all over South Florida. It's in the 80s just about everywhere you go. The winds have been a little bit on the gusty side here. Out of the south at 14, the barometer's around 29.80. The relative humidity 57%, surf temperature 81 degrees. If I sound like I'm stumbling a little bit, it's because the signal here is not as high as we'd like it to be. A lot of thunders. Look at that line of thunderstorms from Fort Lauderdale all the way over to Lake Okeechobee. Now, those are moving toward the southwest, so we may luck out and not have to get too much of that as it moves over toward Naples rather than into southeastern Florida. Keep an eye on that, though, if you
go out tonight, just be ready. You might catch some boomers. As far as the state goes today, it was a whopping 97 degrees at Apalachicola, a new record for them. 92 up around Tallahassee. The rest of the state in the low 90s to the mid to upper 80s. As you can see, it was 89 today in Miami. As far as tonight, overnight lows will range in the 60s throughout the peninsula. And we'll see 70 to 75 degrees from Miami Beach to the Keys. A lot of scattered thunderstorms, as you already know from radar. They're likely to hang around throughout tonight. And tomorrow, a frontal system will be sagging into South Florida. It won't bring much cold air. It will, however, lift the air and help it to trigger some thunderstorms. Highs, as you see them, from about 71 to 80 degrees or so. Low pressure cell out in the middle of the United States. We're covered by high, but there's a little front that's bringing that weather in for us. Take a look at the sky scan now, and I'll show you. See the front out there through the middle of the plains? That's stirring up a lot of trouble around Texas, and that other one sagging down. That's the one that's going to clip us over the weekend. They've already picked up another 4, 5, 6 inches of snow out around Montana. They are still under a winter storm warning out there. Tornado watch again for southern Oklahoma into central Texas. So it's kind of a mess there. But we've got good weather in South Florida. Look for us for tonight. We'll see partly cloudy skies. Let's go ahead to the forecast in South Florida, and we'll show you. We're going to have partly cloudy skies, a few showers and thunderstorms, lows from 67 to 70 degrees. Tomorrow, a mixture of sunshine and clouds, scattered thunder showers, highs 82 to 86. Boating forecast. All right, right now they're out of the southwest and south. They'll be swinging around, and by tomorrow, they'll be northeasterly and increasing 15 to 20 knots. By tomorrow, seas 4 to 6 feet. Want to do some fishing and stuff, do it between now and noon tomorrow. Bay waters moderate, chop to choppy. Next high tide at 9:48 tonight, low tide at 3:54, sunrise at 6:38, and sunset at 7:57. Now the hat is to do with the Marathon Dolphin Scramble. I don't know if you can see it very closely, but there's a little kid riding a dolphin right there, and the idea is that this is going to be the kid that's going to get out there, and he's going to catch the first dolphin, run back in, and win the whole shooting match. Probably going to beat me out there too, Peter and Sally. That's the way it always happens. Tomorrow morning at 9.
I'm going to borrow his hat with this wind, I'll tell you. It's really blowing things around. And every time we talk, a plane flies over. Isn't that the way it is outside?
Right on schedule.
Well, we're celebrating South Florida tonight, live from the Dade Cultural Center in downtown Miami.
Up next, to look at how we may be celebrating lower electric bills. News Center 7 will be right back.
We're your hometown station. We hear you when you call. News Center 7 gets to the heart of it all. We're with you night and day, so there's no need to wait. Celebrate, South Florida, celebrate. Celebrate.
She makes everything seem special. Sometimes she's more fun than anyone I know. She makes things happen. She gets a look on her face, then it's magic. She has her own spirit. It touches everyone she comes near.
Lauren, the fragrance by Ralph Lauren. From the Lauren Bath & Body Collection, the Summer House Sampler. Your gift with any $14.50 purchase. Now at Burdines.
Some companies are in such a rush to clean your carpet. They don't take time to listen to you. Well, at Stanley Steamer, we take you through a complete carpet analysis to learn all we can about your carpet before we clean it. Because when you pay to have your carpet cleaned, you deserve to have it cleaned right. Stanley Steamer. Anything less just isn't carpet cleaning.
Call for great spring savings now.
Hi, I'm Dan Tashati. Still to come on the 6 o'clock hour, some little-known tidbits about some downtown buildings.
Celebrate, South Florida, celebrate.
How would you like a great deal on a custom van? Here it is, factory direct from all Potamkin locations for only $15,998. A custom high top with front and rear air conditioning, color TV, custom interior, and much, much more. Factory direct for only $15,998.
Potamkin Hialeah Miami Lakes, Potamkin in Broward, Potamkin Northwest 7th Avenue, Potamkin Hialeah 103rd Street, Potamkin Cutler Ridge.
Factory direct for only $15,998.
Poor Mom. Her feet danced when you were a baby. Then in your youth, her aching soles followed you everywhere. And in your terrible teens, you gave her many a fit.
Bye, Mom. I'll clean up later.
This Mother's Day, make it up to Mom with Isotona Comfort Slippers. Help soothe Mom's tired, aching feet, and maybe she'll even forget what you put her through.
You were such a good child.
Isotona Comfort Slippers.
U.S. officials say that the accident in the Soviet nuclear plant at Chernobyl in Russia is still not under control, almost 2 weeks after it began. News Center 7's Health and Science reporter Dr. John Miller, who's also a nuclear engineer, has details.
Americans continue to be in no danger from the Chernobyl plant's nuclear fallout. Locally, the Dade County Health Department is monitoring the air for radioactivity, but they haven't detected any. Nationally, 2 slightly radioactive air masses are moving eastward. Oregon and Canadian officials are recommending that people not drink rainwater to avoid any unnecessary exposure to the weak radiation. The fact that we've detected this radiation has some Americans worrying for their safety, but there's no reason for that. It should prove to them only that the measuring equipment is good, being able to detect radiation at levels 1/1,000,000th of the level that would actually cause them harm. The fire at the Chernobyl plant is apparently now out, according to today's satellite photos. The Russians have been dropping sand, lead, and boron on it for the past few days. The Russians are now tunneling under the plant, apparently in an effort to seal in the radioactivity.
The aim is to encase the whole 4th unit in concrete, and work has begun to place a concrete foundation under the reactor.
A few days ago, the wind shifted toward Kiev, 80 miles to the south, leading many parents to send their children to Moscow. Local officials are ending the school year early, and children are being ordered to stay inside. It remains unclear how many people at the plant will ultimately suffer from radiation. On Monday, the Communist Party boss in Moscow said radiation levels at the plant were 150 Roentgens, enough to kill half the people who stood next to it for 3 hours or more. One Swedish research institute says that across Europe, thousands of extra people will die from cancer in the next few decades because of this accident. Dr. John Miller, News Center 7.
Earlier today, here at the Dade Cultural Center, members of Miami's black community gathered to issue a call for peace and brotherly love. They were kicking off the Nonviolent Mother's Day weekend, a campaign to stamp out crime here. 250 students gathered here at the center for a spirited speech by orator Patricia Russell McLeod. The Atlanta-based attorney is gaining national recognition for motivating inner-city youth.
You must be the one, students, to wake the town and tell the people that the message is clear. That while some would say that we're the minority, we know that we're the majority, because we'll be the ones that go back to our community and our schools and tell them that crime does not pay.
Throughout the weekend, inner-city groups will be discussing the critical need to combat crime here.
A showdown tonight between Eastern Airlines and the FAA. The Federal Aviation Administration fined Eastern for a variety of maintenance and safety violations earlier this year. But now the Miami-based carrier is disputing the findings and refuses to pay the $9.5 million fine. The FAA says if it doesn't get the money within a week, it's going to take the airline to court. If you're sweating it out because air conditioning is too costly, you may be getting a bit of a cool break. FP&L is trying to get the okay to lower electric rates because of plunging oil prices. And that's not all. The summer utility bills could be the lowest in 6 years. For most residential customers, that's going to mean a savings of almost $5 a month from June through September. Isn't hot here, though. It's very pleasant.
It's windy enough to stop being so hot here.
Right.
It just blows everything away. Coming up next in sports, Tony La Russa's living on the edge, but he's still living.
Bret Lewis live from the International Swimming Hall of Fame pool. Next, as we continue celebrating South Florida.
Ever since you've been leaving me, I've been wanting to cry. Now I know how it feels for you. I've been wanting to die, but
When something great is coming, you can tell by the signs. Soon you'll see signs all over of a Progressive Bank, a Florida bank. But that's only the beginning. CNS Bank, the sign of great things to come.
99.9 KISS FM plays continuous country songs back to back.
you picked a fine time to leave me, Lucy.
99.9 KISS FM makes you feel good every morning.
Oh, Lord, it's hard to be humble when you're perfect in
every way.
Continuous country from your favorite artists on 99.9 KISS FM.
I was country.
You'll get more great country songs in a row on 99.9 KISS FM, and you can write that down.
We're with you night and day, so there's no need to wait. Celebrate, South Florida, celebrate. Celebrate.
Hey diddle diddle, a cat with a fiddle picked a handy new value pack. Free bonus fries, large Coca-Cola, and McDonald's Great Big Mac. Rub-a-dub-dub, 3 men with a tub pick 3 different value packs. Special price with McDLT, quarter pounder with cheese or Big Mac. Pick a pack, a value pack.
It's the greatest deal on wheels. Now you can win one of 8 new Jeep Wranglers in the Great McDonald's Jeep Giveaway. Get your official entry blank with every McDonald's value pack.
What does it cost to Costa Rica? Just $99. On Challenge Air. Caramba.
Right now, Brett Lewis is live at the Fort Lauderdale Swimming Hall of Fame for the International Diving Competition. Brett.
Yes, well, actually, I'm in the museum at the Swimming Hall of Fame. I was by the pool at the Swimming Hall of Fame. If you will look to the north, you'll notice a lot of lightning. Our mamas didn't raise any fools. We have come inside. However, this meet, the McDonald's Invitational, which has gathered the best divers from all over the world, will continue with qualifying tomorrow. The team's going to pass. Come on out here. And the championships will be tomorrow evening. We'll have more on this meet coming up in just a few minutes. But first, on to baseball. Supposed to be an accomplished fact. Chicago White Sox were going to fire their manager, Tony La Russa, and hire Billy Martin today. Martin's agent was in Chicago. He talked to the White Sox owners for 3 hours. Then they came out and made the announcement. La Russa will keep his job. They're even giving him more authority. Billy's going back to the light beer commercials. The Padres probably want to go back to San Diego after playing daylight ball in Chicago. Cubs' Keith Moreland lifts a high pop up here. Look at this. 4 Padres converge. Nobody can see the ball. Finally, Steve Garvey says, well, I'll just jump over here and maybe I'll catch it. And he did. No one could catch the ball hit by Ron Say in the 5th inning. Well, no one in the field of play, at least, goes over the wall, over the bleachers, into the street beyond left field. This fan, though, did manage to get a hold of it. The Cubs lost this game, though, final of 6-2. 2 other games in the National League this afternoon. Montreal beat Los Angeles 8-4, and Philadelphia is leading Atlanta 5-3. They are in the 3rd inning. The Dallas Mavericks in white were hosting the Los Angeles Lakers in Game 6 of their playoff series. Early on, Mark Aguirre elbows Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and on the other end, Kareem returns the favor. Mavericks have been popping off about how they should have won this series already. Should have kept quiet. Lakers took over last night. Jabbar on the fast break. L.A. wins 120-107 to take the series 4 games to 2. And next comes Houston.
After Game 1, it became a helter-skelter series. It was very competitive. Whether or not it's going to have a positive residual effect on us, only time will tell.
The Lakers coach Pat Riley. Commissioner of the USFL says he wouldn't blame the owners if they fold the league after the 1986 season. That is, should they lose their $1.32 billion suit against the National Football League. But Harry Usher says he doesn't expect that to happen. He thinks they will win in court. They are claiming the NFL conspired to keep the USFL from getting a TV contract, as if the networks would just love to put on a minor football league in the fall. Another Southwest Conference team is on probation. Speaking of professional football, TCU on probation for 3 years because 7 players admitted receiving cash and other illegal benefits. Horned Frogs cannot compete for the '86 conference title or go to a bowl game after that season. They lose 35 scholarships over the next 2 years. They've got to give back $300,000 in TV money. NCAA says if TCU officials hadn't turned themselves in, could have been even worse. Well, anytime the world's best divers assemble for a meet like the McDonald's Invitational, the name you hear over and over again is Greg Louganis. He has set the standards for this sport, and as Doug Vaughn reports, has managed to frustrate all his rivals.
He has dominated men's diving for 10 years. Greg Louganis has won NCAA championships, Olympic gold medals, and everything else in between. He's considered by many the greatest diver in the history of the sport.
He's the greatest of all time. There hasn't been a diver like him in 100 years, and there probably won't be another one like him for another 100 years.
When Louganis is in a competition, the question becomes who will take second place. And while it takes a great diver to finish second in a meet like this, it is still frustrating to the others, knowing that no matter how well they perform, first place is probably out of reach. If it weren't for Louganis, Mike Wantuck might have been the guy winning all those Olympic medals. He has enough runner-up trophies to fill a convention hall, but nobody remembers who came in second place.
The worst thing about his
massive success is that the people, like myself and the other people, they're almost totally ignored.
Louganis says he can't be overly concerned about the competition behind him, and he's not about to let anybody knock him off the throne.
You always have to stay on your toes. There's so many young kids coming up who are making more sacrifices than you are, who are putting the time in, who want the championship more than you do, possibly.
The problem with Greg is that he's rarely off the mark, and if he's off the mark, it's only for one round. If he wasn't here, if it wasn't the era of Louganis, we would be the champions.
Louganis will probably retire after the '88 Olympics, so until then, Wantuck and the others will have to be content diving for second place. Doug Vaughn, News Center 7 Sports.
And you can tell it's kind of intimidating when your opponent has already made the Swimming Hall of Fame. By the way, kudos to Mike McNaughton, Billy Roberts on the crew, the world's greatest sports producer, Barry Leffler, for getting us out of the lightning and in here and getting this thing on the air. Way to work, guys. And that's it from the Swimming Hall of Fame. The museum under the roof in Fort Lauderdale.
We're sending some rubber-soled shoes over, Bret.
Thank you. Don't send the helicopter. We'll drive back.
Looks like they moved quickly. Good thing. Well, Mark Ledner says this cultural center is a sign of the times for Miami.
His notebook is next when we continue celebrating South Florida right after this.
Hi, Dan Tashati here in the Miccosukee Indian Caves. We're going to be finding out all about them Monday on the 6 o'clock hour as we continue celebrating South Florida.
Even with all you spend to keep your home beautiful, you may be overlooking something. Termites, hiding just beneath the surface, destroying your home from the inside out. Call Orkin.
You know, for about the price these people are having to pay to fix this one door frame, we can protect your whole house.
After that, if termites ever damage your home, we'll repair it, whatever the cost.
Call number 1. For termites, we just might be all the protection you'll ever need.
AT&T wants you to think that they're different from MCI. But with MCI's Dial 1 long-distance service, you call the same way, to the same places, coast to coast, with the same information operators and the same clear connections as AT&T. And, MCI saves you money. Maybe that's the difference that AT&T was talking about.
When asked to choose a long-distance company for your home or business, choose MCI.
Make my sandwich with dandy bread. Give me the taste that I like best.
No matter what kind of sandwich you like, you'll like it even better when it's made with soft, fresh, dandy bread.
Make my sandwich with dandy bread. Give me the taste that I like best.
Win Amana Appliances. Details on package.
It's a $100 million marathon on now at your Chrysler Plymouth dealers. For 10 days only, we're dealing big to sell $100 million of inventory. Brand new Chryslers and Plymouths. They must move fast.
Now get 5.8% financing or $500 cash on Plymouth Horizon. Act now for a super deal on Fifth Avenue. Over $5,600 less than Cadillac Sedan DeVille.
Plus, get the 550 protection plan. Hurry to the $100 million marathon.
Only 2 days left at your local Chrysler Plymouth dealer.
Mark Ledner says this Dade Cultural Center isn't just a compliment to downtown Miami. He says it's a compliment to the people of our entire community. Here's tonight's Ledner's Notebook.
There's so much to like about this cultural center. It's attractive, it's sophisticated, and there's something to like about this piece of the city that goes beyond the obvious. I like what it says about Greater Miami. It says that hometown pride is asserting itself here. In its small-town Coppertone era, Miami was known as a place of transients, people who came here to winter or to retire or to turn a fast buck, people from elsewhere on their way to elsewhere, people reluctant to invest in temporary quarters. Civic-minded people always have had to battle this notion that South Florida is more a hotel than a home. That's what makes this cultural center so significant. This is like fine, expensive furniture. It shows people care about where they live. So is the new Museum of Art in Fort Lauderdale, where we originated Tuesday's broadcast. These pieces of the city, these lovely pieces of civic furniture, not only look nice, they say something nice about us. What do you think?
Send your comments to Notebook, Post Office Box 1118, Miami, 33138. And let's check in again with Bob Soper and see if he can do something about this wind. How about it, Bob?
Well, Sally, it looks right now as though the wind is going to keep up. As a matter of fact, it's going to even get stronger. We've got a very oddball, very weak system that's going to come down over us and try to push the high pressure ridge out of the way. What that means is the gradient's going to tighten. We're going to get a few more thunderstorms. We're already seeing some now extending right across the peninsula, really from the Palm Beaches across Lake Okeechobee and then back over near Fort Myers. All of that is moving toward the southwest. There have been a couple of isolated showers around Dade and Broward County, but for the most part, a lot of the area is dry, but that won't last much longer. Look at the Keys, beautiful down there. Here's a look at our forecast for tonight. We'll see partly cloudy skies, a few thunder showers, along with some scattered rain. Overnight lows about 67 to 70. Figure the chance of rain about a 40% chance tonight. Then tomorrow, a mixture of sunshine and clouds, scattered thunder showers, and I think the chance is going to be up around 60% tomorrow. High is 82 to 86. As that front comes down, as I say, it's going to squeeze the pressure gradient, and the winds will become northeasterly about 15 to 20 knots. That'll probably happen tomorrow afternoon. Seas about 4 to 6 feet. Bay waters moderate chop to choppy. I say those seas are going to be 4 to 6 feet, but I'll tell you something. If you stay inside the reef in the Keys, that's where I'm going to be tomorrow at Marathon Dolphins Scramble, 9 o'clock in the morning. Don't worry about it. Listen, we have to worry about it. I'm going to lock myself in the motel room. Peter and Sally?
Lock yourself on the boat instead, Bob. It's more fun out there.
Oh, yeah, especially when those waves are doing that.
Thanks, Bob. Coming up on News Center 7 tonight at 11, we'll continue to celebrate South Florida with a look at the building boom here in downtown Miami. We'll have an outside report on that. Plus, more on the Sunshine Skyway bridge disaster in Tampa. These stories and more live at 11 as we continue to celebrate South Florida on News Center 7 tonight.
Up next, our Tashati specials taking on downtown the old-fashioned way. News Center 7 is coming right back, live from the Dade Cultural Center.
Next week on News Center 7, we'll telecast live from 5 more South Florida locations. Look for us at 6 and 11.
Channel 7 is alive and going strong, and it's so nice to have you along, 'cause this is right where you belong. Celebrate, South Florida, celebrate.
The name Aaron Renz means big savings on furniture, electronics, and appliances for home and the office, whether you rent or buy. We're the nation's largest furniture rental and sales company because we consistently feature outstanding value. So choose a desk, a TV, or a sofa. At Aaron, you'll always find prices that just cannot be beat. We promise you that. Aaron, the biggest name in savings on furniture, electronics, and appliances for home and office.
Right now, we're doing something special at Steak and Ale. It's our 20th anniversary, and to celebrate, we're offering prime rib, Hawaiian chicken, and other favorites now through May at very special prices. Plus, after your visit, we've got a surprise for you. A gift for your next meal, like champagne, appetizers, dinners, and more. So pop into Steak and Ale today and celebrate.
It's gonna be some month. There's something about a train. There's something about a train that's magic.
Travel across the country on Amtrak and see something almost everyone else has forgotten. The country you're traveling across. From Miami, Amtrak leaves twice daily for the Carolinas and Virginia. And you can come home again for just $7 more.
All aboard America. All aboard Amtrak.
King's world record-breaking sale continues. Delta 88, 11,688 with 5.9% financing. Only at King Oles.
During May, we're celebrating South Florida, and we want to share it with you. If you think that one of these posters would look great on your wall, here's how to get it. Write, "I'm celebrating South Florida" with News Center 7 on a postcard, and mail it to P.O. Box WSVN, Miami, 33138.
Celebrate, South Florida, celebrate.
Well, many people think South Florida architecture is stucco and barrel-roof tiles. But News Center 7's Dan Ashadi found that if you've come downtown to look at and glance up, you can see a whole lot more than that. Here's tonight's Ashadi special.
So you're walking down the street in downtown Miami, and you're in the mood to take in a little architecture. I've picked up for us the Junior League self-guided tour book of downtown Miami historic buildings. Let's start on the south side of Northeast 1st Street. Here we have a peek at the Miami of the early 1900s. This is the old Jackson Byron building, which was once the Seminole Hotel. Now, this is an example of neoclassical revival architecture. This building was built in 1912. It was the U.S. Courthouse and Post Office. Now, of course, it's AmeriFirst Bank. You can see the overhanging roof and the recessed windows to keep out Miami's sun and rain. Now, here's the 1925 Dade Commonwealth building. It was 15 stories tall until the 1926 hurricane sheared off the top 7 floors. Moving over to Loomis, you have the old Fort Dallas Barracks. This 1800s building used to be near the mouth of the Miami River and was a plantation slave quarters and later Army barracks during the Seminole Wars. Next to the barracks is the oldest known home still standing in Dade County, the Wagner House, built in the 1850s by pioneer and homesteader William Wagner. This typical pioneer home was built of hand-hewn lumber with mortise and tenon joints. When construction of Metro Rail threatened the structure, it was donated to the Dade Heritage Trust, which moved it to Loomis Park for restoration. Now here's the old Scottish Rite Temple across the street from the park on North River Drive. It says it was one of the earliest structures with Art Deco influences in the county, even predating Miami Beach's Art Deco district. Back in the heart of downtown again, this is the Dade Federal Savings Building and Arcade, one of the few remaining arcades that was built during Miami's boom years. Many of the craftsmen who were brought to Miami to build Vizcaya stayed on and did work like this to earn their livings. And this is the Capitol Building on Northeast 1st Avenue, the only curved, copper-faced, French Second Empire-style mansard roof in downtown Miami. Well, there you have a little look at what's left of the old downtown Miami. Some charming traces of yesterday, if you just know where to look. If you're interested in taking the walking tour yourself, it is pretty interesting. There are 27 buildings in all on the tour, and you can pick up the little tour self-guided brochure at the Historical Museum here on the plaza for $2. Peter and Sally, isn't that something, that hurricane in 26 shearing 7 stories off the top of that one building?
Good
It is. It's amazing.
That tour is a great idea.
And it ought to really start right here at the Historical Museum, which is right behind us. There's some fascinating things in there. They have a settler's house, and you can learn to pound corn like an Indian, and you can also learn to load a cannon
and fire it.
You're right, and that's what they've been doing while we've been talking here, and we should see the effects of that pretty soon. Well, that wraps up this edition of News Center 7, live from the Dade Cultural Center in downtown Miami. We'll be back here tonight at 11, and Monday we'll be celebrating South Florida live from the Miccosukee Indian Reservation in the Everglades. I'm Sally Fitz. They said it was loud. It is.
You know, I thought we put the money in the parking meter. They're real stiff if you don't want to do it.
The scoff.
For Bob, Bret, Dan, and all of us on the News Center 7 team, including the cannoneer back there, thanks for joining us. Good night.
Share the good times, cause we can make them great. Celebrate, South Florida, celebrate. Old MacArthur has a farm. E-I-E-I-O. And from that farm you get great milk. E-I-E-I-O.
More and more people who have moved to Florida have discovered the fresh from the farm taste of MacArthur A+, the low-fat acidophilus milk that tastes absolutely delicious. That's why it's Florida's favorite.
And from that farm you get great milk. We're all growing up on MacArthur.